Hello everyone. In today's video, I want to go through Nichol Kessinger's interview with the police on August the 23rd of 2018. So I kind of want to go through the interview and show you what I've noticed. I honestly wouldn't listen to any of her interviews in the past. Her voice just annoys me, and she lies. She slept with a married man and was fully aware that he was a married man, but let's jump on in. So what I would like to do in this video is divide the audio up and because it's pretty long and I want to give my thoughts on what I've noticed and what caught my attention in the video of her speaking with Kevin Kovac. And I believe it's the August the 23rd interview for Nikki. So what I noticed first was her hesitation and really not wanting to give her phone over. She says things like, "Why do you even need that? Why do you need everything?" Then Kevin Kovac asked her if there were any texts of friends that involve Chris, and she blatantly lied and said, "No, that's not true." And she makes it about her. I mean, really. The text messages with Charlotte, she did bring up the fact that Chris had kids, and those texts in particular show me a great deal. And to dig deeper, did she really have a problem with kids? I'm reminded through this interview and through those text messages of the Susan Smith case. Some of you may remember Susan Smith was having an affair with a man who didn't want kids, and so she killed her children. So I do want to go through those text messages and then listen to the audio. Kind of hanging out with a guy recently, keeping it a secret. Dude loves to eat. Never met a man who does till now. I just let it happen, LOL. I think he really likes me. Haha. Yeah, it's the best sex I've ever had. I'm hooked. He's half Cherokee, so he's all brown too. But he's jacked. He's kind of short. Like he seems too good to be true. Don't tell nobody. I haven't made up my mind yet. You want to go back to high school then? Second is not bad. It's after the first F up a person learns that they really want in a human being. I just feel like I'll always be second place. Like he's been there, done that. It's early though. We will see. He's very kind to me though. 33, I think. That's cool. How old are they? He's all about his kids. The fact that he takes care of his kids is a good thing, I think. That's awesome, Minge. What's the dude's name? Kids are cute, Minge. It's all a package deal. Feel like every dude I met has kids these days, and if they don't, they have commitment issues or some BS like Sean. I don't think it's you, man. Some guys are lame with that stuff. So let's listen to the audio now.
So your phone this time, do you have any objections to us looking at everything in your phone?
Why do you even need that? I'm just curious. Like, why do you need everything as opposed to just stuff
So
being there?
well, because it's easier to get it. And if we're looking at all the material, let's say I take everything off your phone, I can put a date in, like let's say August 10th through the 15th, because those are critical days. But other conversations between you and Chris, or other text messages between you and Chris from June or July, then it makes it harder for me to find all those. Do you understand what I mean? It's easier for them to just take everything. I don't know. Are they?
Yeah. I mean, except for when I first met him, and it was his APC thing.
Okay. And then what about your phone log? It's always his 910 number?
All the time.
Right.
Like it's always that one, or originally was his.
We talked about your GPS locating, like knowing where your phone is
Yeah.
at certain
I
times.
mean, you guys can have all that. I just was like, oh my god, I have so many texts on here between me and all my friends. I'm like, do they really want all this stuff?
Well, is there anything in those texts that you'd be concerned with?
Not really.
So, well, not really, or yes or no?
No, I mean, like, the other day, my dad and I decided to do some damage control because a lot of people were like, hey, Amy's calling me, I don't know what to say, and I just told them all, like, I didn't say anything. I pretty much just said, if media tries to contact you, tell them no comment. It's like, please be nice to them. Like, you do not need to talk to them. It was like, I'm safe, I'm not in trouble, I'm breaking laws, and I was just like, just send your love and support, and that was all I said to people.
So did that prompt all the phone calls of people going,
No,
are you okay?
they were prompting me.
All right. And
That
that's
is
when
why I did that, because I didn't even want to, like, say that, but I was getting all sorts of texts from people that were like, media's trying to contact me, I don't know what to do. I didn't tell them that I was a witness, I didn't tell them anything about that. It was just like, just say no comment, I need you to do this.
Okay.
And then a couple of my, like, super, super close friends, I asked them if they would be courteous enough to take all the pictures that we had of each other off Facebook and social media, and they said yes, and that was, like, a couple of really close friends.
Is there any text messages between you and friends that reference anything that would be concerning regarding this case?
No.
Like, talking about Chris? I think you've told me that you've never even really talked with...
My friends about him. No, and, like, my friend's dad died last night, like, yesterday.
I'm not worried about that.
No, I know, but she started, like, oh my god, she was really drunk last night. She started, like, freaking out. She's like, I don't know what's going on in your life. She's like, I don't know if it pertains to this case. And she, like, just sent me, like, a screenshot of a news article of that case, and she was just like... She's like...
What about conversations?
I didn't mention that it had anything to do with that. She's like, I don't know if that's what it is. He works at Anadarko. She's like, I really don't give a shit. She's like, I just really need you to be here with me and my dad and this and this and this. And she was just kind of upset because I had asked her to please say no comment to the media, and it happened to be, like, right when her dad died, and I think she was feeling a little, like... Yeah, but I mean, you guys can read this. There's nothing in there of me actually saying anything about it. I just told
What's
her.
your phone number on that phone?
720. It's the same phone number that's on this one.
Okay.
656-9605. So no, I mean, you guys can look.
So there was a conversation that I asked you about between you and Charlotte too.
That's the same girl.
That same girl who was freaking out.
Yeah.
So was there ever a conversation about kids with you and Charlotte? Like you, I can't remember the exact context, but you guys were talking.
Hanging out with a guy who had kids.
Okay. And what?
She has not even like put.
Wait. All right. So your conversation about him having kids, how did that go?
I mean, I don't know. I just told her.
Is it still? Did you delete that, or is it still?
No. I have no reason to delete anything else on my phone. The only reason I deleted all this stuff with Chris is because he was making me feel really uncomfortable, and I didn't want to see it in my phone anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, let me scroll all the way back here. I'm going to scroll talk a lot. No, she is like...
So let's just, while we're here, because we talked about this before, but we didn't talk about the specific context of what that message said regarding to children. So obviously, in the situation that we're looking at now with the death of 2 children and all the other circumstantial stuff going around in the case, I just want to make sure there was no comments ever made by you regarding, children or dislike of children or love of children, either way. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I guess. Let me find it. I think this is where this starts. I mean, you guys can just take whatever you want out of there.
So it's easier for me to just take everything than it is to single it out. Plus, for the purposes of this case, the less exposure, we already have, initially you drew concern from me when you told me you deleted everything from Chris. I've already told you that. You understand why. There's no question as to why that might cause concern. So if there's anything else that ever comes up, I have it, and then we can just discuss it. Do you understand what I mean? All right.
starts talking about her and her fiance. So that was like weeks ago. And she hasn't brought it up since really, or like connected the dots, or like said shit. I mean, you guys can look through all those texts. And I don't know when that was. That was definitely when things were going good, so this is like weeks prior, I'm just assuming. I think the date is at the top of whenever we started texting that day.
Looks, this is
We talk a lot.
August 7th.
Yeah.
So I reference everything to Sunday the 12th.
So that's the only conversation like that on there, I believe, on my phone. I don't think there's like anything else. And she even last night, like, still wasn't even, she's so worried about her dad. Other than that, there shouldn't really be anything on with other people. But you guys can just pull everything off that phone if you
As long
want.
as you're okay with that, that's would be
I mean,
my
if that
preference.
makes your life easier.
Well, it's not just about making it easier, it's just less. So if there's any question, like I told you before, like the two girls you just met did a lot of interviews in this case. They've done a lot of work. They may know things that I don't. There's no way we can all know everything. So they might go, oh, because somebody else was the one who told me about Charlotte and this method.
First, I do want to say that even if Nikki did express a concern about being second best to his kids, Chris is still responsible for his actions, and he's the only one responsible for them. But this is something that's thought-provoking. Chris said in a 2019 interview that Nikki pursued him, and he had to talk Nikki off a ledge and thought she had bipolar. Did she? Is she bipolar? I mean, why does Nikki delete text messages and be so hesitant to give her phone over? Chris writes in a letter to Nikki saying, "We have a lot of firsts together." Was it a problem that she wouldn't be his first wife? Was it a problem that she wouldn't be able to give him his first children because he already had kids? I mean, and I'm not accusing her, and I'm not saying that she did, but I mean, it's something to really think about. And the more that you listen to her, and then you go back and listen to Chris, but then again, with Chris lies. So, I mean, it's just something that really just caught my attention and just really has me thinking, did she really do that? Was the kids really the problem? Did she put the impression on Chris that the kids were the problem? I mean, that's something to think about.
Did you and Nikki ever fight?
We never fought, but like I said, I had to like calm her down a bunch of times.
Yeah, you started to mention that when we were talking to you before about her getting upset about some video or something about being bipolar, or
Well,
what are you talking about?
I think either my dad told me about that or John Walsh told me about, like, she made a couple videos like when she was just like, you know, talking to herself, saying that she was bipolar or something like that. But a lot of things was like when she realized that, okay, like, she's the other person in the relationship, that, you know, I'd always put my wife first over her, and that's what kind of made her take a step back a few times, and then like I had to kind of like calm her down.
Tell me about those times. What'd that look like?
So the first one was probably around July 4th when I had to leave her house, because she wanted to kind of spend most of the day together before she went to like a baseball game or something. And like when I had to leave, it kind of just made her like kind of take a step back and wonder what she was doing. And I just, you know, told her like, hey, you know, just because of what's going, like, just because I had to leave doesn't mean, like, you know, you have to just take a step. I was like comforting her at some point. I don't even know why I was doing it. Maybe I knew I was too far gone at that point, but it was.
Because this is Shanann's pissed. She's called you 10 times. You were sleeping because you had your day off. And then you go outside to talk to her on the phone and then tell Nikki that you need to go home just in case she calls back and all that, right? Mm-hmm. So what did she say to you, Nikki?
She was in the shower and she said, okay. And then that's like, when I talked about it, I calm her down, he's on the phone. So.
And was she like, we're breaking up, like we're not gonna, I can't do this?
No, she said like she didn't want to, like she didn't think it was safe or it was good for us to see each other anymore.
July 30th, 2018. Nikki, wow, where do I even start? The first day I saw you, you took my breath away. The first day I had the guts to talk to you, I got lost in those stunning green eyes. The first day we hung out in the park together, I knew I was addicted. The first time we kissed, I knew I had met the most amazing, unique, and wonderful woman ever. We have a lot of firsts together, Nikki, and I want to keep having them with you all night long till the sun comes up. I want to love you like that. Love, Chris. And Chris also said that she said that she wanted to give him a son. I mean, this is just very... It's very interesting, to say the least. Did she express, like I said, did she express that concern over not being, his first wife? She expressed a concern because she knew he was married and he put his wife first. Well, what do you think is going to happen when you have an affair with a married man? I mean, really, it's just, it's crazy. You don't have to come out and say, well, you always put your kids first, or murder your children, or murder your family. You could express it in different ways. She seems to be a spoiled brat, even with the detectives. If she didn't get her way, then she pitched a fit. Did she do that with Chris? That's my thoughts, and that's my opinion. I think that she expressed that, and in some weird fashion, it's just weird how she just wants to delete her text messages and lie. So they're both liars. So, I mean, can you really believe either side? I mean, we can look at the evidence, we can look at the discovery, and we can say, hey, yeah, wait a minute. This, and this don't add up, And you don't have to come out and say that. You don't have to come out and say, well, kill your family. I mean, that's kind of common sense. But you don't have to do that. You can express that in other ways, in personal time, in saying, oh, well, I want to give you a son. And I do not believe that Nikki didn't know that Shanann was pregnant, because she Googled her. She looked up her Facebook. It was all over her Facebook that she was pregnant. And her Facebook, where she was in marketing and sold Thrive, her posts were public. So, like I said, Chris is not an innocent bystander, and he is not, this is not anyone else's fault but his own. And that's just the way it is. But, I mean, and he even said in the interview that relationship contributed to what he did. And then that's victim blaming too. So, but, I mean, this just caught my attention, listening to her interviews. And I want to do more on it. So I may end up doing a couple more videos, maybe parts 2 and 3. I want to go back to her first interview where she lied and said, well, I didn't know. Yeah, she did. She knew, So what are your thoughts on this? What do you think? leave them in the comments below. And thank you for watching, and subscribe.